HOA's big mistake. My private property message got out of hand. When I first moved into my new home in Riverton Grove, a neighborhood that promised peace, privacy, and that perfect suburban charm, I couldn't have been happier. I was a 32-year-old architect, excited to start fresh with my family. The house was perfect. A spacious yard, a cozy living room, and a beautiful driveway leading up to the front door. What could possibly go wrong? The trouble began with the very thing I loved most about the house: my driveway. It wasn't just a way to park my car, it was also a shortcut. For a neighborhood built on curvy streets and cul-de-sacs, my driveway connected two main entrances, and it didn't take long before people started cutting through it to shave a few minutes off their commute. At first, I thought it was innocent enough. After all, it's a nice gesture to wave at a friendly neighbor in passing, but things quickly escalated when I realized it wasn't just one car. It was a parade of vehicles, especially from my neighbor, Karen. Every morning at 8 sharp, I'd watch as her shiny black SUV would take a sharp turn into my driveway, driving through it like it was part of the street. Her husband, her kids, even the random delivery trucks, all using my property as their personal shortcut. One afternoon, I watched her teenage son zoom by on his electric scooter, laughing with his friends, completely oblivious to my presence. It wasn't long before I noticed DoorDash deliveries being mistakenly dropped off at my house, directed there by Karen herself. I was done being polite about it. I had to put my foot down, but without causing a ruckus. I went down to the hardware store, bought a gallon of red paint, and got to work early one Saturday morning. I painted 3 simple words in bold letters on the concrete: private property. I added a little smiley face at the end, just to keep it light-hearted. But as I stood back to admire my work, I heard the screech of tires and the unmistakable sound of Karen's car slamming to a halt. She stormed out of her car, arms flailing in the air like a windmill in a storm. "What are you doing?" she screamed. "This is part of the HOA loop. You can't do this." I blinked, confused. "This is my driveway," I said calmly. "And I've asked nicely for you to stop using it as a shortcut." Her eyes widened as she pulled out her phone. "I'm calling the cops," she shrieked. "You're vandalizing shared property." By now, I was so taken aback that I stood there, paint roller in hand, half laughing at the absurdity of it all. A few minutes later, a squad car pulled up, and Officer Martinez got out. He glanced at the scene, and then at me. "Sir, what exactly is going on here?" he asked. "I painted my driveway," I replied. "People have been using it as a shortcut, and I just wanted to make it clear it's private property." Karen, not missing a beat, jumped in. "He used red paint. That's aggressive. He's threatening everyone." The officer, barely able to keep a straight face, glanced at the driveway and then back at Karen. "Ma'am, red paint is not illegal, and this is his private property. He's within his rights." Karen stood there, mouth agape. The officer handed her back her phone, and without another word, he turned to me and nodded. "You're good to go, sir." Karen, now visibly shaking, pointed a trembling finger at me. "This isn't over," she yelled, but it was too late. She stormed off, leaving me to finish up the job. The neighbors who had gathered to watch the spectacle murmured in approval, some even offering me congratulations. I'd won this round, but I knew Karen wasn't done. The very next morning, an email popped into my inbox from the HOA board. It was titled, "Urgent Emergency HOA Board Meeting. private property controversy. My stomach dropped. It was happening. The HOA was getting involved. The meeting that night was a circus. Karen presented her case with the passion of a politician, accusing me of endangering the entire neighborhood by painting my driveway. "It's an eyesore," she exclaimed. "It's a danger to the children. It's a form of psychological warfare." When it was my turn, I stood up and calmly presented my evidence. The deed to my property, the exact line showing that the driveway was mine, and the email exchanges that showed Karen's history of pushing her agenda. I had even done a little digging of my own. Turns out, Karen had tried to take over part of my property years ago with a failed zoning application. She was the one making this personal, not me. After the meeting, I wasn't just defending myself. I was sending a message. Karen had crossed the line, and it was clear the HOA was backing her wrongfully. The next day, I got a flyer from Karen. It was a full-blown smear campaign, complete with a blurry picture of my driveway and the words "Danger Zone" written across it in big, bold letters. It was laughable. But I wasn't laughing anymore. I had to respond. I spent the next few days gathering more proof, digging through city records, collecting photos of Karen's previous attempts to manipulate the HOA, and even the footage from my security cameras when she tried to paint over my message in the middle of the night. The real twist came when Karen's own actions backfired. I'd caught her red-handed, literally, on video, trying to erase my private property message. When I sent the footage to the HOA board, Karen went into a full-blown meltdown. She started accusing everyone of conspiracy, calling me manipulative, even claiming I used AI tools to forge my documents. She'd lost it, but the tide had turned. More neighbors came to my defense, and Karen's reputation in the community was rapidly deteriorating. The HOA board, seeing the overwhelming evidence, finally sided with me. Karen, humiliated and isolated, tried one last stunt. She tried to petition for an ordinance that would restrict driveway markings for everyone in the neighborhood. But this time, I was ready. The final battle took place in another HOA meeting, where I presented all the evidence: my property deed, her failed zoning attempts, her harassment, and the footage of her vandalizing my property. The board quickly voted to table her proposed rule indefinitely. In a shocking move, Lisa, a quiet board member who had once remained neutral, announced her candidacy for HOA president. She ran on a platform of fairness, transparency, and giving power back to the homeowners. It wasn't just a win for me, it was a win for everyone in the neighborhood who had ever felt oppressed by Karen's petty rule enforcing. As for Karen, a few days later, I saw her house was on the market. Word had spread. Neighbors were already making plans for a block party to celebrate the end of her reign. What started as a small act of rebellion, a few words on my driveway, turned into a movement. Sometimes standing your ground is the only thing you can do when someone tries to rewrite your reality. And sometimes all it takes is a little paint to make the truth visible for everyone to see. What do you think? Did I handle it the right way, or would you have done things differently? Let me know in the comments below.